Hello and welcome to Almost 30 Podcast.
Hi, friends. It's Lindsay and Krista, your BFFs through change and transformation, baby.
Change and transition. And today we have an Almost 30 guest on.
Yeah, I've been waiting for this. I've been waiting to just analyze
I know.
a little chicken who's almost 30.
I don't know if our girl is like, I don't know what normal almost 30 people are like, but I feel like she's like beyond her, wise beyond her years.
Wise beyond her years, just so self-reflective, so willing to do the work.
Yeah.
It's like, it's kind of crazy, but maybe that's how they are now.
Honestly.
If I look back at 27, 28, she's about to be 28 in this episode. I was not there. I was not there at all. We had just started the pod. I was still wrecking my body, choosing the wrong people, just very unaware of what I was bringing to every moment.
Yeah, I agree. Not with you, but I think I was. I tell you, I think I was explaining this on the episode. Something I've been grappling with lately is I have no concept or memory of anything. I can't tell you what I like. There's very few times in my life where I have a grip or understanding of what I was or what I felt. Like I am a bag in the wind. I am a water. I don't know how to, I'm like, I don't know what I was like. I need to watch a video of myself. I think I would need to watch a video of us recording. I do know that I always was reflective, but I don't know if I had the right lens of my reflection, where I was probably reflective in the way of how can I be better or how can I make more progress or be more successful. It was like the engine of my reflection was for that rather than like, oh, I want to love myself more. I want to understand myself more. Like it wasn't maybe the purest of intentions.
Sure. Yeah, that makes total sense. Yeah, I think it was like for both of us, very external.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's very true. And that is the thing about, she's a millennial too, right? Are we both millennials, or she's barely Gen Z?
She's technically Gen Z, but like just made it.
So this is our girl, Victoria Garrick Browne. And actually, she is friends with my makeup artist, Michelle, who I love so deeply. And me and Michelle actually met in an elevator. So I was visiting a friend. I was at a friend's house in Beverly Hills, and I was in the elevator with another friend. And this little cutie came in the elevator, and she had her AirPods in, and she takes out her AirPods and goes, I was just listening to you and Sahara on the podcast talking about breakups, and just was like so chill and calm. Literally, I had been on her phone in her ears.
That's so crazy.
And I was like, what's up? And she's like, I knew I'd meet you. And I was like, yeah, you did. Like, I was like, yeah, man. And then we just like talked, and she's like, I'm a makeup artist. And I'm like, great, come do my makeup. And so then she's been doing my makeup ever since. And she's
fabulous.
Amazing. Yeah. I like meeting people like that. I'm always like, what's up? Like, doesn't scare me at all. I'm just like, hey.
Totally.
I remember I saw one person that's like kind of famous once, and I was like, hey. And I think they were terrified of me. It was years ago at Air One.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, some like famous people get spooked.
Yeah, she was very spooked.
I can understand like if someone has just so many eyes on them at all times, and they've probably had some weird experiences with fans.
Yeah. She had a baby. And I've been learning more through you and other people about how your brain changes, and you're kind of more protective.
Yes, totally.
You don't want people around you when you have a baby.
If you're fresh with the baby, literally going outside is a psychedelic experience. It's weird.
I could totally see that.
Being in a place like Erewhon, being in public, like it is so overstimulating. It's
oh my God,
insane.
I could totally
So you being like, you saying, hi, how are you? Was like, hi, how are you?
It felt like that. I think I was seeing myself reflected through her eyes, and I was like, wow, I was too aggressive. I was too aggressive. But Victoria Garrick Browne is an advocate. She's an influencer and a speaker. She has a podcast called The Real Pod, which we were also on as well. She became famous because she was an athlete at USC playing volleyball that opened up about her mental health issues and her body struggles. She is someone that just turned 28, and she's done so much. She has her own nonprofit. She has multiple businesses, and she's just like incredible. We had so much fun in this conversation. It felt so real and easy and authentic. And yeah, it just felt like the conversations that we like to be having.
Yes.
It was really beautiful too, because our girl is on her spiritual journey as well, and really discovering and connecting with her soul in a deeper way. And I think I remember that she helped me remember that part of my journey, where I think she's so much further along in a lot of ways, because she's been in therapy.
Yes.
I started therapy when I was 32. So I started therapy, a little bit later than she was. So that's helped me so much progress. But I do remember feeling that call to connect with my soul and feeling that desperate desire for a more spiritual experience. And you don't really know what you're talking about or what it means. I'm not saying this about her at all, but I guess I'm just saying I didn't really know what I was meaning when I meant for spiritual experience or what I wanted, but I knew there was something that I desired.
Yeah.
And I think we have that desire as humans. Like, I've been reading this book called The Secrets of Divine Love. So it's basically a Sufi-inspired commentary on Quranic excerpts. One of the quotes in one of the sections really talks about that natural desire we as humans have for more, and the more kind of we feel like it's going to be material because we're in the physical form, but the more is a connection to God or connection to source or connection to spirit. And one of the quotes from it is, to every cry of, "Oh God," he answers 100 times, "I am here." And really, it's like the feeling of that calling out for more, or knowing that there's something more to this human experience, that we all sort of have that feeling and essence of knowing, and how we can live in that desire for that connection to God or source.
And I feel like it can come out in like beautiful ways and then in shadow ways too. Because I think
Like through addiction. And
yes, exactly. But yeah, I loved her just ability to allow her she was emotional, just in touching kind of that part of her that desires to know her soul better, and knowing so deeply that it's like right there. I think we often approach spirituality thinking of it as a hierarchy, where we're like, well, we're not as spiritual as that person, so we probably won't feel or experience our soul or our spirit guides or God like that person, because it seems like they're having psychedelic experiences all day, every day. And it's like, no, like in a millisecond, you can connect with intention. Like, it's just, that's what I've had to learn too, because I, for so long, was comparing myself, like, I'm not as spiritual as this person, and I'm not as psychic as, it's so much of that is your mind. And it was a really, really beautiful conversation. She's funny and fun, light, and yeah, I just had a blast.
yeah, so we did talk about spirituality. We talked about her journey. We talked about mental health, friendship, and kind of the girl talk conversation with a lot of depth and a lot of texture. And Lindsay and I felt like we could participate just as much as she did, which was so great. So Victoria Garrick Browne, you can find her on Instagram, and then Real Pod. We were on Real Pod as well, which is so exciting. And if anyone's part of her community, welcome to Almost 30. We're glad to have you here. We've got a bunch of resources for you, and especially our book, Almost 30, which is a definitive guide to a life that you love for the next decade and beyond. Our goal is to really help you remember that you are not behind, you are just becoming.
Thank you all so much. Enjoy this episode. Share it with a friend. That really is a great conversation starter. And make sure you're subscribed. We have new episodes every week. All right, enjoy this one, and we'll see you on the other side.
We'll see you soon. Love you guys.
Bye.
In our industry, it's interesting, like the type of person that it attracts. It is like type A, perfectionist, people that like women that are kind of like tendency to overfunction, tendency to like overdo, tendency to be perfectionists, and kind of wanting to manage and take care of everything. And it can like really stretch you, and almost like it can be really harmful for your mental health, I think. Not even outside of the comments or any feedback, like the perfectionist tendencies as an entrepreneur is really, really hard.
And are you at a point in your business and life as an entrepreneur where it's hard to delegate and trust people to do it as well as you would do it? Because I feel like we had like a before and after having a great team. It was like before we were trying to do everything, we didn't trust people to do it like we would do it. And then once we eventually found the team, we could kind of relax on the things that we were taking on. How do you feel about that?
Fortunately, I feel like I went through that season a few years ago, and I do have incredible help now. Jenna, who's my brand director, is like just an angel. And it was huge when I learned like I don't have to do it all myself, and like I can entrust people with responsibilities. But fortunately, as things continue to grow and expand, then like my duties evolve. Like, for example, I founded a nonprofit, and at first you're starting very small, And now it's like I'm chair of a board and we're fundraising. And it's like, I think as much as I delegate where I was, I then take a step to accumulate the tasks and the requirements of like a new thing. So, it just feels like it never stops. Like, I guess I don't ever have a world where I'm like delegating and then I'm sitting there doing that thing. Like, I then make myself, I'm like, great, now I can do this part of the thing. So, and I love work and I love what I get to do. Like, I feel so blessed. There are a lot harder jobs out there. But I'm having to realize and recognize when I can like, just pass something off. Actually, Jenna helped me one time. She was like, think about it this way. Like if you asked 10 people to write a paragraph, we would all write them differently and they would all be good to air, just because it's not the way you would write it. And that was like such a helpful visual for me of like, it's not exactly how I would do it, but does it fall into the caliber of like good enough? And it's like, yes, it does. So sometimes I'll come back to like do, delete, delegate, like just keep moving forward.
Yeah, I love that. I remember, I think it was Mel Robbins one time was talking about how it's like a lot of times we'll have spaciousness on our calendar and the open space we won't see as blocked off for ourselves. It'll just be like open for anything. And I've always thought about that as an entrepreneur because I always would delegate and then I will add exactly the same or add even more, where I almost am like, the more team members I've realized we have over time, the more I've taken on, which is kind of part of the point, but also not. And it's like, how do you figure out how to create time and space for yourself, especially if your like mental health is struggling, especially if you're in a season? How do you personally take time for your mental health and yourself?
I love that you asked this because I just asked myself this question 3 days ago and I've been answered it and then I've been trying to make the changes. So I feel like I have been creating more anxiety for myself and stress because of my thoughts about my situation or the future. So like, for example, this week is very packed for me. And so I'm like looking ahead of it. I'm looking ahead at it last week. Like, okay, I have this, I have this, I have this. That's going to be really draining. That's going to be hard. Then I've got to do this. And I'm adding all this commentary about it. And my brain is overlooking the 2-hour morning that I get to have where I have a coffee and I'm relaxing and I get to actually do my thing. The hour drive to the draining thing where I get to like call a friend or like be silent and be still. And like, there are so many still moments. And I've been realizing that my habit has been to fill the stillness or the boredom with a podcast, with a call to a friend, with scrolling social media, scrolling TikTok. And then I'm like, not allowing myself that moment of stillness. So I just put back on the screen time boundaries on my phone to go off and on at a certain time. I think I have it as not going on until 10 a.m. I can't use social media. And then it goes off, I think, at 6 or 7. And that's been so nice. I'm like, wait, I actually have a really still relaxing evening when I'm not looking at these things. And I've already felt my brain like starting to clear out. I almost imagine like I have all this like dirty water in my brain and it's like as it filters out, I'm like adding more to it. And now it's like filtering out and this like it's empty and that's been nice. But yeah, I've been trying to focus on that and trying to be in the current moment because like this moment with you guys is not stressful.
Yes, totally.
But if I add on like thoughts about am I prepped enough for when I interview you guys after this? And then I'm driving to this tasting and I'm meeting this person. It's like, that's the stress, but that doesn't exist. It's all in my head.
Go ahead. Yeah, I was talking to Chris about this the other day where, I have a lot of, so I'm relating to you deeply, like this anticipatory anxiety of the things that haven't happened yet. And I'm making meaning out of it. And I'm basically my mind is convincing me how stressful it's going to be, how hard it's going to be, how am I going to do it? And it's almost like I don't have enough true information about the thing yet to be even making those assumptions. So I've just had to like have these moments where I'm like, oh, right. When I'm here, I'm in flow and I'm having fun and I'm present, even though the week looks crazy. Can I take it like one moment at a time? Can I like magnify what is actually really good about the day, the breaks, the silence in between? But I just wanted to like relate deeply because the anticipatory anxiety, we forget what's true. And we forget that we don't have enough information to kind of like quell the anxiety.
Yeah.
I love your anxiety flavor because it's like so internal.
It's so internal.
You would literally like never.
But that's what's
ever-
actually really hard.
Yeah, like it's like everything with Lindsay is like,
I'll tell her something that I'm anxious about, and she's like, "What?"
I'm like, what, bro? What are you talking about?
And
Like,
I'm
it's like you can't tell.
it's so,
if I'm anxious,
but that's why
obvious.
it's hard because, and maybe it's something I can kind of work. Are you like external with your anxiety? Like, would your husband know? Would your best friends know?
They would know if I said something. Like, I mean, yesterday I was like sobbing in the morning, like just having an hysterical cry that I like really needed to have.
Yeah.
And then I went right over to my parents' house and like it's like no one like can tell.
Yeah.
Unless I said something, because I'm very good at like presenting perfect. That's just something I've learned to do. So if anything, like when I'm talking, but fortunately I've learned to be very vulnerable with my emotions. So like I'd say that on the podcast, I posted on Instagram, like I'm not hiding from my family that I was crying, but I'm also like, okay, like I left that at home. I came here to like reset and I don't want to bring it in and like talk about it. But something that my husband and I were talking about last night, and like he's the same as me, which thank God we get each other with like we're the same, the way we are like ambitious, but then also overwhelmed and we take on too much. But he was saying like, yeah, people like overlook you because they're like, oh, she has her shit together.
Yeah.
She's the mental health girl. Like she goes to therapy. She seeks support. Like they overlook me in terms of like, how are you doing? And I also don't ask for it or like take the space in the friendship to be like, let me talk about myself for 10 minutes. Like that's hard for me to do. Like I just want to ask about them. Or if I'm talking about myself, the voice comes in and is like, you're talking too much about yourself. Like you're hogging the conversation, you know? So, I mean, to answer your question, Lindsay, like sometimes, but something I am working on is like when someone asks how I am, like taking the time to be real and answer that question, you know?
There's research that says that when you ask someone how they are, asking them 3 times gets you the answer.
Really?
So if you say, how are you? You'll be like, I'm good. You're like, how are you? You're like, I'm good. And then the 3rd time is when you kind of like break and you like say how you really are. I think for me, when I get anxious is when I have that perfectionist part of me that feels like I have to be anything other than what I am in the next moment. So it's like whatever we have today, if I think about the thing we have at 2 p.m., I'm like, I will get stressed if I'm like, okay, I have to be perfect. I have to be profound. I have to say the right thing. It's like, that's when I'm like so stressed because I'm like, there's a part of me that's like, I'm not prepared. I'm not good enough. I'm not like whatever the things are, instead of just like, okay, if I'm myself in this moment, I'm myself, then that's all I need to do. Like I'm prepared enough. And I've also been thinking a lot about that where I'm like, oh man, the space in between when I have stuff like is what I cherish. And I'm like, what if my life was more of that? Like spaciousness and time in between? Like what would that look like? What's the fear of having more spaciousness and time in between? Do I feel like I'm not going to succeed or like, because I don't want to be someone that's like pushing so hard and running so fast that like I cherish my time off so much, like where it's like, oh my God, thank God I have tonight off. Like that doesn't feel right. And that just feels like imbalanced.
I love we're all relating to each other. Like the whole show is going to be like, I relate to you. Here's my share. We're just going to keep rotating.
The title of the episode is I Relate.
I relate and share. But I relate to what you said. And it reminds me of, you guys know Gabby Bernstein, obviously. She's amazing. But one of the first times I had her on my podcast, Real Pod, she came on and was like, oh, I just got off of a speaking engagement and I had this. She just listed a few things that I'm like, if that were me right now, like I would be like anxious energy, scattered, spastic. And she was so calm. And long story short, she was saying like, we can have the same, like anyone could look at their day's to-do list and you can do it with like a really tight grip on the wheel, your shoulders raised, your jaw clenched and like, you know, being frantic and do the same tasks. Or you can like lower your shoulders, relax your jaw, take a deep breath, and you could like move slowly and do the same things. And I always come back to that, you know, with the process versus the end goal and being like, I can do what I'm going to do today, but do it without this need to rush. I caught myself even like rushing yesterday, doing whatever it was. And I'm like, there's no need for urgency. I have that from my athlete history is always a sense of urgency, get it done, be efficient. And so I try to remind myself like, fortunately, there's no hurry, there's no rush. Like,
Yeah.
this is not brain surgery. Like, we can send it a day late.
Yeah. I have, I think the Gabby thing reminds me, like, a lot of times I just think about, I'm like, the way that I want to, like, what I want for my life as far as success goes and impact goes, I'm like, I actually have to expand my capacity to hold these moments and do these things. Like, because if I want more and I want better and bigger and all of that, it's like those people, even the people I look up to, the people that I like admire, their capacity is greater. Like, they're able to go from a speaking event to a thing and able to flow. Like, if I'm struggling right now with what I have or what I'm doing or how I'm showing up, there's no way God's going to give me more. There's no way I'm going to be able to like do more in my life. So I think about that for listeners too. It's like, we have to be able to find the capacity or the groundedness or the sense of self or the peace within our lives now for us to take on any more.
I love that. That's really cool.
Yeah, because I think people want more. They want to do bigger. They want to do better, but they're already so anxious and up at night and so stressed. Like, there's no way God's going to be like, yeah, here's a double what you're doing.
And I guess, what does that take to expand and what you can handle?
I feel like it's all mental for me, spiritual.
Yeah.
I feel like mine is, probably mostly spiritual, like the spiritual anchoring of knowing that it's not all me, it's not all on me, giving it up to like something bigger and something greater has helped me expand my capacity. Because if I'm like, this is all my responsibility, this is all on me, it just creates this like false sense of responsibility for everything. And I think when I'm able to be like, okay, whatever God wants for me is what I want. And then it's really the mental health aspect of it, of like seeing everything as like, everything is perfect. I just say, this can only be good. Like, everything can only be good. Yesterday we did this event. And it was like with one of our friends, and like
on
it was
Easter.
on Easter. So it was like tiny. Like, it was like tiny event. Not like if there's anything wrong with it, but like old me would have been like, oh my God, we're losers. There's something wrong with us. No one's here. Da da da. And I'm like, this can only be good. I'm like, seeing 15 people.
And it was amazing. It
was the
amazing.
best. I'm like, this is the best. I like couldn't have wanted anything more. So also that reframe can be helpful too, of like, whatever's happening can only be good.
And those are 15 people that could be lifelong followers from that point on. Like, when I did a lot of public speaking, especially in the beginning, it wouldn't be like necessarily mandatory for like the student body. And so, the attendance would vary. And I would just always think like, there's one person here who needs the message, and like speak to that person. And even to anyone out there who's like starting a business, starting a podcast, you have like 2 followers, or you go live on TikTok and you have 10 people watching, like you have 10 human beings sitting there listening to you. Like, when you talk to someone in conversation, like one person is enough for you to feel like you care about what you're saying. I think nowadays we can get caught up with just needing everything to be as big and grand as it possibly can be. So
Totally.
connecting back to that, I love that, you have the reframe.
Yeah.
I want to talk about, you're 27, 28?
I'm 27. I'm turning 28 on next Wednesday.
No
way! Taurus.
Okay, this is perfect.
Taurus.
You're very Taurus.
Yeah.
Grounded.
Stubborn, loyal.
Yeah,
I have done a
Love design.
ton of work on my
So
stubbornness.
through aesthetic. Oh, how does your stubbornness show up? I can't see you being stubborn.
No, but I've like really, I think the past 3 years I've like adjusted it a lot. But
sports, that would be helpful.
I feel like it just used to show up with like me thinking that I was right or I knew best, especially for other people. And then having to learn that you cannot know what's best for someone else because you're not them. And everyone needs to struggle and suffer to then learn life's lessons. As much as it comes from a good intention of, hey, I learned this thing, so don't do this because you're going to burn out, or this is going to crash, or this is going to fail. And I want to prevent that from happening to you. I can't do that. Also, my husband's been a huge help in just the way we have like healthy arguments of like being on the same team. And I think the putting yourself in someone else's shoes is always beneficial. Like, before you react, like take a deep breath and genuinely think about like, where are they coming from? Because if you know that like love and respect is there, then no one's out to get the other person. So, I mean, those have been huge lessons I've learned in small ways and in massively big ways over the past few years that have helped me with the stubbornness. But it definitely was like I leaned there, then I would lean like, blow me into the wind. And then loyalty, like I'm very, very loyal to a fault. This is like Taurus stuff.
These are friends things, like friend-related topics.
Yeah, friend-related, relationship-related.
Because I think a lot of what we experienced in our 20s too was that part of friendship where I think in your 20s, there's the experience of feeling like you know better, or like being very deeply involved in your friend's life and decisions, and wanting something for them that maybe they don't want for themselves. Like, I remember my best friend from home, we lived in Chicago together for a little bit. We've been friends since we were like 10. And she dated this man, the most toxic man I've literally ever met in my life. They were fucking around for like 15 years. Torture for me. And I remember one time we were like in bed in Chicago, and I was beside myself, crying, so upset about him. Da 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 da. Like, it was like he had done something again. And there was just a moment where my soul was like, bro, whose life are you in? And I was like, dude, it was like, we were both in my bed, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. And I was like, hey, man, I'm no longer involved.
I'm no longer in your relationship.
I'm no longer in your relationship. I'm ejecting myself officially. We're no longer talking about it. I'm no longer participating. And that one decision in that moment changed my life, because I was like, oh, I don't want to do that anymore. I actually don't know what's best for her. It's actually doesn't make sense for me. Like, you kind of have that awakening. So were you overly involved in people's lives? Like, what was that looking like for you in friendship?
I actually, if anything, have been so on the other side of that pendulum where like, if we have one chat and you ask for my advice and I like give you my advice, and then like whatever, you're back with him the next weekend, and like we've established you don't want to marry him, he's a cheater, he's a liar, like it doesn't make sense for me. I'm actually so black and white that I've found I need to catch myself on that and have a bit more patience, because it like triggers me when someone else is able to live in gray area and is able to say, wait, I think I might need to see them a few more times, and I'm not ready to rip the Band-Aid off and like make a rash choice and go right, because that's how my brain works, to a place where I've had situations where I'm like, damn, I took a right turn way too fast and I wish I drove straight for a little bit longer. So recently I've had to realize that like everyone's at a different place in life, and like my way is not the best way. And I need to be able to like tolerate that a little bit more with friends. But I've been really fortunate to have some incredible, really close friends for many years, like 10, 15, 20 years. And even though we met in childhood, like really to grow in similar ways, we're inherently different on paper. But I think when it comes to like values and morals and integrity and just like principles of like the experiences we want to have, it's been aligned. So that's been great. But I'm definitely at a place in my later 20s where I'm like, energy is really important to me. And I have like a zero drama tolerance. Like I really do. Like if anyone has a problem with me, I'd love to talk about it. I pride myself on being the friend who's like, oh, I hurt your feelings. Like, I don't care about defending. This was my intention, or this was what I said. I'm so sorry I hurt you. Like, thanks for telling me that. Fortunately, I have that with my friends. With family, it's like a different type of wound where I'm like, no, let's talk about it. But with my friends, I'm able to be like, forget it. I literally love you more than anything. I'm so sorry that comment came out wrong. But yeah, I've had to really like kind of rethink, how do I feel when this person calls me? Like, what is my immediate reaction when I see the caller ID? And like, am I so excited? Like, one of my best friends, Natalie, do you guys know corporate Natalie?
Yeah.
Fucking
The
love
best.
Natalie. I feel grateful every day to realize I'm one of her best friends and she's one of mine, because she's just such an incredible person. And this morning, like she calls me and I see the caller ID and I'm like so excited. I'm like, yeah, I get to talk to Natalie, because we're both always so busy. And I'm like, wait, I really should be like prepping for the podcast this morning. I should not be running late. And I'm like, but you know what? Like, I want to talk to my best friend. And so I like answer that call, you know? And then there's other people where I might be like, I don't want to take that call in the morning because of the energy it could bring. So I actually had a friend recently talk about this whole like, who has a backstage pass, a front row seat, a lower bowl, a nosebleed, access to the arena of your life. And I have definitely been, I'm a see the best in people, more naive, super gullible. Like you can pull any prank on me and I'll think you were being real. But to a fault where like way too many people have a backstage pass. Yeah. And I think the people earn the right to know you closely. I think there's power in that. I do think there's power in wearing your heart on your sleeve and being vulnerable. And I am that way. And I've had to learn that some things you don't just tell someone the first day that you meet them. So at this stage in my life, I'm definitely like, yeah, who has a backstage pass and who do I feel good about and where do I want people to kind of fall in that? And then one more thing I'll say, because my birthday is coming up and we're talking about friends. I think there can be a lot of pressure around that. Like, who are you inviting to your dinner? Are you having a party? Are you having a big thing? And like, I was talking to our mutual friend, Krista Michelle, about this recently because as I was thinking about my birthday, it's sandwiched between a bachelorette I'm throwing as the maid of honor. So I'm like, that's a whole thing. And then it's sandwiched between another weekend of a bachelorette. So I have like these two really exciting full social weekends. And then my birthday is on a Wednesday. And I'm like, you know what? I don't really want to do a huge friend thing or like force the issue. Like my friends are all in different places. When I look at my close friends and the people I could call in a crisis, like it feels so full. When I look at the 10-mile radius of where I live and who could come to a lunch, they don't all live here, you know? But that's okay. But I was thinking like, do I want to have a lunch and like mix and match and have people meet each other? And then I'm thinking, but then are they going to come and be like, oh, this is sad. There's like not that many people. And she thinks I'm one of her best friends. Like literally my anxiety. And then I'm like, and then is my mom going to be like, and who's going? Like, I'm getting anxious thinking about all these judgments.
This is so sad.
No,
it's so real.
From
It's so
people
real.
of what they're going to think.
Totally.
But meanwhile, I'm like, so actually I never want to bring up these like trivial things in therapy because like I have like I have other trauma that
I'm only trivial. My therapist is like, can we talk about something real? I'm like, so he texted me, he said this.
I like to go like trauma or like really existential. But then with my last 10 minutes, I'm like, okay, wait, so there's one thing.
Yeah,
like,
literally.
Yeah.
She's like,
I do with my therapist. I call it tapas style. We're a tapas style where we're just talking about a bunch of little things that are light. Where I have this like, my dad's really sick. I have my dad stuff looming in the background, and I know every fucking session she's like, "Can we please fucking talk about your dad?" And I'm like,
You're like,
yeah, I'm
no.
like, so my hair this week.
That's hilarious. I'm way more like, my money is going on the deep shit right here. I'm like, I can talk about this birthday with my friends.
Yes.
But so we always have like our last 10 minutes. I'm like, okay, well, there is one thing. I'm like, it's my birthday. I'm like, so I'm worried that they're going to think this. And I'm like, and my mom's going to think this. And then this person. And then she's like, what do you want for your birthday? I'm like, whoa, because you know, I don't think that way at all. I'm considering the emotions of people like who are maybe not even coming, right? Yeah. And I was like, you know what I want? I want to just sit by a pool all day with just my one friend. I don't want to do anything else. Like I want to have a family dinner. I love being with my family. Like, you know, that's what I want to do. And she's like, great. And so, you know, I am figuring out with the birthday, getting closer to 30, these like, what do I really want? Not caring about other people's opinions. As long as I feel good, I feel good. And, you know, just starting to prioritize, myself, my needs more. And not in a selfish way where I'm like, I do think that nowadays it's a little dangerous when people are just seeing one Instagram post that's like, set your boundaries.
100%.
And if they don't accommodate your boundaries, cut them out. I'm like, whoa.
They're like, I'm a child and you're my mom.
No, I'm like, you're literally, no, I'm like, that's how you end up with no friends. I'm like, you have to like flex and give to people for sure. But should I be considering 10 people's emotions on my birthday?
Totally.
No,
Yeah.
I shouldn't. Like, so
I think emotional flexibility is the number one thing of like health is flexibility.
Yeah.
Like how are you going to be different in each moment? What were you saying?
Yeah, and I think, you know, it's just, you know, this is a prime example of like what is supposed to be happening at 28, you know, in your late 20s where like you are no longer operating based on what everyone else thinks you should do. You are no longer reacting. You're more responding with just thought and care and you're like very attuned to nuance. And I just, I'm like blown away. I'm like, you are exactly where you're meant to be in this process.
Same, bro.
Like going through, I assume you're going through your Saturn return or, you know,
that's
in
what
one
Michelle
part of it.
has told me.
We can look it up.
She's
after,
my little
for
soldier.
Sure.
No, we need
But
I want to look it up to know exactly.
You will.
It's just really, really cool. And I think, you know, at times it can be heartbreaking to make these decisions for you because for so long, I'm sure you've considered everyone else before you, you know, but I think our relationships, especially the ones that like mean the most to us, they need that update, that system update that's like, you know, listen, like we take care of ourselves before we give to each other. You know, we do express what we desire without the fear of the other taking it personally, you know, because everyone, I assume most of your friends are around your age, so everyone's kind of moving through this at their own pace and in their own way, but like a lot of the same updates are happening.
Yeah.
You know, and to be able to bring that into conversation is so powerful. Do you feel like your friends are going through it too?
I definitely feel like they are. I think as you get older and you maybe like find a partner and you want to share your life with them, like I do think I notice a huge difference in like what my ideal weekend is versus like one of my friends who's single. I also think a huge element of this too is like, you know, everyone's priorities are different. And my husband and I will say this thing, like things net out differently for everyone. And like what other people might think is a huge priority, like you might not, or vice versa. And I've been thinking about this a lot with my best friend, Aubrey, who we've been so close for 20 years. We have matching tattoos. We were first grade together. We were next door neighbors. Like literally my dad carved a hole in the fence and we would go back and forth.
Cute.
Like my ride or die.
Underneath the fence?
Through the fence, yeah.
Like a dog.
No, he literally took like a saw and he cut a little door, and then like the dividing line between our houses, there was a little door we could go between. No, and we both have two brothers. We were born 3 days apart. We literally, all of our similarities, we joke that we're in a simulation and someone was assigned to code us and someone accidentally just did it twice. So we're like same but slightly different.
Wow.
But anyways, she is engaged and she's going to be married, which is so exciting. And like, I'm obviously already married. Another crazy fact, but our husbands were college roommates and best friends.
What?
So, yeah.
Stop.
No, it's actually insane.
Okay,
like
that's
we joke
freaky.
that it's like sickening. We're like, people hate us. I would be disgusted as well. But I know, I'm sorry. But anyways, I've been having this thought where it's like, we always used to have this bit where we'd be like, oh my God, yeah, we would save each other off a cliff. Like we'd always been like, you know, screw everyone. Like it's you and me. And it's like to be at this place where I have my husband and like, he's my best friend in a way. Like that's my like, you know, marriage, essentially, you're drafting a team and you choose one person out of everyone in the world that you're like, I want you to be on my team through like the worst games, the hardest games. We're down 10 points. Like you're the person I want to play this with. And she has that too. And it's like the adjustments where like the deep conversation or like the crisis phone call will go to our partners and not each other, and like how to also have like maintain still our close friendship, but also have this with our husbands. And like, you know, that's been an adjustment, but in like a beautiful way. Like I'm so happy that like I feel like I have this love and that she's found this love too. But yeah, it's like, how do you grow and like maintain these relationships, but know that they're changing and know that we all want to do things differently, and like, yeah, like how we wanted to, I mean, I'm making things up, but how we want to spend Christmas is different than how this family wants to spend Christmas. And we might like to go on a vacation here and they don't want a vacation. I'm making all this up.
Yeah.
But like, yeah. And having to cope with that and realize like, oh, it's not how it used to be, or, you know, the time we get to just do our makeup together, like doesn't exist anymore because we're not in college. And like, there's a sadness to that. And I'm definitely the queen of like, being nostalgic. I mean, my hysterical crying yesterday morning started out of joy. I was on the phone with my yaya, who's like 87, and she's always like, enjoy your life, kukla. she's like, and then she goes, enjoy today. And then she goes, and enjoy every day you have alive. And I'm like, it's like hit me so deep. She's so sweet. And I just like, then started to cry and feel joyous that like I'm going to my parents and they're cooking dinner. And like, as soon as me or my brother has a baby, like the whole dynamic changes. And then one day we'll pass the baton, and one day one of my parents won't be here and then they both won't. Like the only thing permanent is like impermanence, right? But then it led to like a sad cry. And like, I don't know. I think about everything. Like, do you guys do that?
Yes,
Where you're like,
yes. Oh my
holy
God.
shit. Like, and then I'm thinking, I still feel like a baby. I'm like, does my mom look in the mirror and think I need my mom and dad? Because I'm like, I can't imagine at any age in my life being like, I have this. But then we look at our parents, you know, and forget it's their first time doing this too. And like, they're trying the best that they can. That's helped me a lot too with forgiveness in life, is like everyone's figuring it out and trying not to hold grudges. And if I saw someone I hadn't seen in 5 years, can I approach it with a clean slate? Can I hope that they do the same for me? Like, yes, because we're all just like trying to be better people, hopefully, or we're not at a place yet where we've had the big wake up call that something needs to change. But yeah, it's like I do think your later 20s, when my husband just turned 30, and like he definitely had like it wasn't like he was stoked to turn 30. He was like, holy shit, like I'm 30, like you hear about that. It's a huge change. You have different priorities. He's realizing his dream Friday night is on the couch with me, which is crazy because it used to be like going out, so yeah, there's so much change. And it's like, you can either be scared of it and you can resent it, or you can allow all of the emotions, good, sad, bad, to like rise and then accept it and know that you maybe have a good support system or you have your own back as you like navigate what's next. But yeah, I definitely feel like I'm in a chapter that's like, for sure, I have no idea if it ends in 3 pages or it ends in 30,
Yes. It's so beautiful because I think you're such a deep feeler and a deep contemplator. And I think a lot of times when we struggle with our mental health in life, it really leads us to that place of thinking deeply about because we really think about how we can be well, like what makes us feel good and what can support us. And I think when we talk about getting older and that sort of like fear of that change and transition, I remember being so scared of any change in my 20s. I was like, oh no, this all change felt like it was going to the bad. And now I'm like, oh my God, life keeps getting better and better. All change is good. Like all change is leading me to someplace that's even bigger and better. And, to the nostalgia piece, like how beautiful to just be in the moment and be like, oh my God, this is never going to happen again. Like I was out of town this weekend with friends, and I was with one of my girlfriends who's getting married and she's going to have kids soon. I just was with her. I'm like, girl, we've traveled so much together. We've done so much. And like, we're probably not gonna be able to do this again for a long time. Like, I just am cherishing this. Like, this feels so special to me and so meaningful. And like, I will never let a minute pass where I can't be nostalgic, where I'm like, this will never, my husband used to be like, or my ex-husband used to be like, dude, shut up. Because I'd be like, this moment right here is never happening. Like,
It's so true.
it's so good.
And I think it's like that's the gift and also the heartbreak of like quote getting older and like
true.
Seeing your parents get older, and when you have kids, like I feel like my mortality was just like staring me in the face when I had a kid, which sounds like so grim, but it's just like what it is. You're like, whoa, you want to be here forever, or you want your parents to, it's just this feeling of like wanting to just bottle all of this up and like have,
Yeah. But the good thing is, and my husband tries to remind me this, is like we're having these conversations and we're appreciating it. Like we can at least know that there won't be a future moment where we're like, damn, I wish I like didn't take for granted this friendship or this relationship or this opportunity,
Yes.
I will say though, sometimes, and I can feel this way where I'm like, I have to answer every time my parents call, because what if there's a day they don't call? Or I have to like, anytime my dad asks me to hang out, I have to do it. And then it's like, my therapist has helped me with this. You can't live every day. Like every single person you love won't be here tomorrow because what will happen to your month? She's like, let's walk through it. Would you be able to have a career? I'm like, no. She's like, would you be able to like have good mental health? I'm like, no. Like that's not realistic. And so we have to give ourselves grace for sure. And we can't be everything for everyone too. Like, of course my parents would love to spend every day with their kids. Of course they would. But like, they need to experience boredom. They need to have friendships. They need to like have things outside of family, and they do. And I have to remind myself that like I can't be everything for everyone. But I just throw that in there for anyone listening who's like would maybe take, because I'm this way, take it the way where they're like, God, I have to just like give up my whole life to just be for others. And it's like, no, it's the balance of it and being at least having the awareness of it.
And I feel like for me, I was someone that lived for others so much earlier in my life, especially in my 20s. But because it was unconscious, it was like secretly for me. It was like secretly for approval, secretly for safety, secretly to live up to an expectation that I had for myself. And the more that I've been able to be in my own experience and be myself and live for what I want to do and who I want to be, the better my relationships have been. I was actually thinking about this last night in bed when I was up in the middle of the night. One thing about me is I do enjoy my thoughts. I enjoy what I think about. Like I enjoy the landscape of my internal dialogue. So I was just kind of like traversing. I'm like, what are we thinking about? I was thinking about the masculine and the feminine, and I was thinking about a lot of the journey of the masculine is to go from solo and solo building, solo experience of just them. And then their kingship, and I was talking about this at our event, is actually when they care about the community or they care about the kingdom. And women, it's actually the opposite. We spend our whole lives caring about other people, and we're actually the most in our power when we're only kind of thinking about ourselves. And thinking about ourselves in the way of like, what gives me pleasure? What makes me happiest? Where do I find the most joy? Where do I find the most thing? And that doesn't mean that we're neglecting family or relationships, but it's like, it benefits them because I'm filling my own cup up to care for other people. And I've really been focused on that too in my dating life and just all of my life of like, what brings me joy? What did I come here to do? Like, how did I come here to be and live and experience? And how can I use this experience of what I know to be true to benefit others, but first by benefiting myself.
Yeah, I think it's because I think some people would say, oh, that's selfish or whatever. Like, it's kind of like you have to untangle that programming at so many times in your life where it's like, okay, why am I resisting this? It's because I was like taught another way. And I don't know how you grew up with your mom and your mom, but like, and I mean, I know because we've been friends for 10 years.
Like, just kidding. I know.
But like, I kind of had to, I never saw my mom do anything for herself ever. And, you know, I think some people would say like, oh, that's the role of a mother. But I kind of had to just kind of like feel into the nuance of, yeah, but you know, at what cost? At what cost to us and her relationship with my dad? And, you know, it's a really interesting thing to think about. And I agree with you. It's like, how can I think women will always be serving others, but it's how we do it. So it's like filling our own cup. I was talking this morning on Instagram about like just how like, and Peter Kelly talks about this too, like leaning into what gives you life, brings you life, what you want to do creatively is part of what feeds your family. You know, not just the money coming in. Like that's kind of secondary. It's more just the energy and the life that you bring into the family through what you do creatively. It's really interesting.
I think everything though, when we think about women serving, it's like, what's the energetics behind it? Are you serving or helping people because it's your true, genuine desire and calling out of abundance, or is it scarcity? Like, I am not loved unless I self-sacrifice. I am not worthy unless I'm putting everyone else above myself. I am not safe unless everyone around me is safe. And I think that's where the shift is like the energetics and like the actual inward desire to serve and give, where you're like checking in, like even you with the phone, you're like, okay, cool. What is my true desire for this? Like, do I truly have the capacity and ability to speak to this person in a way that's in service to them, in a way that's in service to me? For Natalie, it's like a yes. Maybe another friend, you're like, actually, it's not in best service to them or me. And that consciousness is really what makes the shift in life, you know, where you can choose what's happening for the best of you and for the best of them.
I need everything you just said clipped and I need to repeat it every day. That was insane.
Thanks.
Literally, like the whole, I mean, it's so true. Like, especially what you said at the beginning, just like, is it because it's serving us? Is it not?
Yeah.
Is it an abundance to others? Like to make other people feel safe. It's so like inherently passed down to be like the woman's role to do that stuff. So it's so true. And it's always helpful and like freeing to hear these things. It reminds me of like Glennon Doyle's Untamed, you know,
Such
and like
a good book.
have these revelations to then look at your life in a critical but like loving way to then like course correct.
I love that you're doing that. Do you feel like your generation is doing, because I feel like you do that well. Like you look at your life critically, you look at how you're showing up. And I feel like that's also why you're so successful, is because a lot of people want something different, but they're not looking critically at their own lives to see why it's not a matching. So you could be like, I want to be famous on TikTok, or I want to have my own business or whatever. And they have the desire, but they're not really tracking what about the way I'm operating in my life is not leading me to that place. Do you feel like your generation is like that? Do you feel like you're just like that? Like, what do you think is happening?
It's hard to speak for like a whole generation, of course. I know that I have always been very driven, and I've enjoyed the hunt. And I think just always being an athlete as well, you just always have goals, and like every single day at like what is practice? It's let's talk about what you're not good at and let's get better. And there's literally never like an end to that. You could always be better. And I think in ways that has like unhealthy aspects and negative aspects, of course, but I do think a core value, like for one of my core values to be like, I'm superhuman and like I can accomplish anything. Like it's a positive. It's better than like I'm not deserving of trying. But, you know, it has its negatives when I find myself taking on way too much. You know, I think like for me and at least like the company I keep, I'm really like, I'm energized by people who at least care about what they're doing and they take pride in it. You don't have to be like a CEO of a company, but it is hard for me to be like really close friends with someone who has like no pursuit. And I've had to try to evaluate like, is that my own projection? And sometimes I think it is because like I don't know how to sit still and not achieve something. So then when someone can do it, it's uncomfortable for me because they can do something that I can't do. But you know, I do think as I look at like Gen Z and like below that, at least from my personal experience with like my company and working with people, I feel for them in the way that like social media has amplified mental health issues and the vibe of the culture is like, screw the world, we're all going down. And like, it seems like there has been some loss of like the etiquette and the pursuit. I'm really grateful to Mel Robbins, like, because even though she's not like a personal guru I listen to every day, I do think she's like really like smacking into shape, like, and reminding young people like that they have autonomy and that they have great talents and that they have potential and like it's all comes back to them. And like, I've been loving to see that because for a while I would see on TikTok just so much negativity from the younger generation about like just depression. And I know because when I was depressed, it's comforting to like, you know, negativity breeds negativity and enthusiasm breeds enthusiasm. But I remember thinking, dang, like, God, the vibe of the culture is just like, we're all in like this sad, pissy party. And like, that's just not helpful. And it's almost like harder to get out of it. But I do think at least the side of TikTok and Instagram I've been on, it's so cool seeing like younger people loving the Mel Robbins stuff and like, no one's coming to save you. Like you have to get up, you have to make the phone calls, you have to send your resume, you have to do the work, you have to give this to then like get where you want to be. So that's been cool. I guess it's like my high level thoughts on like, I guess the culture.
There's like this like, I don't know when it happened or what generation, I guess Gen Z, but like the fuck the man like type of vibe. Do you feel like?
I have no idea.
But I don't think it's because like, so what I mean by that is like related to like not doing the work to get to where you want to go or to take self-responsibility or like, you know, it's like not really like fuck the man. It's actually like so much of it, what you're bringing and what you can be in control of is so much more than you think. Yeah. And yeah, I felt like that was a big difference between millennials and Gen Z where like, I feel like millennials like still had that appreciation for like, okay, this is kind of like, this thing is going to be a process and I respect the process and it might be challenging, might be hard. I'm going to meet it. But I feel like, and this is a gross generalization and could be wrong, but like they desire it to be a little bit easier and to kind of skip over some very important steps of a process, which are like character building, which are like healthy in the long run. Does that ring true or no? I feel like you're different, but
It's tough because I think obviously you can like look at the coin on every side. You could also maybe look at millennials and be like a lot of them
are burnt out. Are we millennials?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm actually, I don't even know what I am.
I love it. When you
I
were
think
talking,
I'm right
I
in
was like,
between.
are you Gen Z?
I think I'm 97. I actually think I'm in the last of the millennials.
Oh, really? Wait, you're a millennial?
Like, I don't know. Can I look this up?
What are we? Are we boomers?
Wait, no, we're not boomers.
I definitely think I have traits of both.
I agree.
I love listening to like Daughtry and Nickelback, but then I also like am chronically online.
Girl.
Okay, born between 1981 and 1996, millennials.
Girl, you're Gen Z, sister.
Let's go.
This is our discovery today.
Generation Gen Z is 95 to 2012. I don't know how that makes sense.
It overlaps.
No, that cannot be right. My husband is not Gen Z.
Girl.
Wait, when was he born?
95. That's
But
crazy.
this is saying 90. Yeah.
I wonder,
don't
you know
know.
what I mentioned? Oh, sorry.
You're good.
I just want to say really fast. I'm curious too if your algorithm of depression was where you were at when you weren't feeling well. And so now that, you know what I mean?
What do you mean, my algorithm? Like, was I depressed when I was seeing that? No, it was actually like after.
Okay.
But something I will say, because like for about how we're talking about Gen Z too, is like to come up in social media, I think is really,
I agree.
really difficult. And I feel so grateful for like that coming into effect when I was more in high school and like had formed my own opinions a little bit and like had been used to a childhood where we played kick the can with the neighbors and like we hit the dodgeball against the garage. Like, you know, so I do think it's one of those things where I never want to like say, oh, it's so easy and these people are missing it, because I think to come up with, I mean, I had enough like body image issues and stress from like the Victoria's Secret app, which isn't even a thing anymore.
There was an app?
Yeah, there was an app.
Wait, say more. I actually don't know this.
What?
There was an app and they had like all the angels and you could like click on their profiles and see all their videos. And then I would like Google them and I'd look at their measurements.
Of course,
And then I'd
what
like
do you
measure
mean?
myself.
Yeah.
But I do think to come up with social media and with, honestly, I totally like also sympathize with parents who like are working jobs and they're busy and they're like, here's the phone, here's the video game, here's the thing. Then like the addiction I feel like with all of the like education and experiences I've had to a phone, and you put that in the hands of an 11-year-old who their parents are trying their best, like no wonder their brain is now like wired to this, like, I don't know, you know?
I know. What? As a mom, what do you want to say? have to.
I have a controversial opinion. I don't think they're doing their best if they're giving their kids the phone
Preach.
and the iPads.
I'm not
sorry.
a mom, so I'll stay out of it.
It's the harder choice. It's like, I'm going to get so much shit, but it's the harder choice to not give it to them. And there's a lot of other things you can do and teach. And I understand I'm a working mom. I have unique flexibility, but like I'm 3,000 miles away from my child right now.
She's crying when she landed.
But I do think there's other options. I just think it's the easier one and we see everyone do it and we think it's going to be okay, but we actually don't have enough research. We don't have enough years to see what it is doing to our children. Yeah. We are the first generation that has both. You know, I didn't grow up with, I think I got a cell phone but it was like the little peanut cell phone.
Ours was like the Motorola.
The Firefly? Where you had 4 buttons?
Girl.
Yeah, I don't even know. It was
Mom,
just like,
Dad, home, police.
Yeah.
Police.
Like, that's what I'm going to get my kid
911.
when he's freaking 16. Like, it's just, we don't know enough yet and it scares me. And to your point, like, we're severely addicted in a lot of ways. And their little brains are like in that prime time to be influenced, to become literally dependent on having that to comfort them in those moments when they're bored. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's
the pacification of it.
Yeah.
I think it's like, and again, I'm couching this with no idea-ness. But I think I'm just trying to think of, okay, so what is the thought process for someone like that? They're overwhelmed and they're unable to manage their own experience. So they're needing relief, and the relief is given to the child the phone, right? Is that what's happening?
Well, I was just thinking, if you don't give the child the phone, then like you might need to entertain. If you can't pay for child support, like you might need to help them or entertain them, or then watch them, and like maybe you have a call or you have an email. Like, I mean, I don't have a kid, so I'm imagining, but like, you know, I don't think I would bet there's not parents are thinking like, this is the best thing to do for my kid. I'm thinking they're more thinking it's like, this is how I can get through this day. But then like that day becomes like every week, every month. And then it becomes like, when you take it away, the kid's like, I hate you. And then you're like, fuck.
Dude, because their little brain is addicted to it. Mm-hmm. I do think it's I hate to be like this, but I do think there's like a global economic pressure that so many people are living against too, where it's like the women have to work full-time jobs now. Like that wasn't always the case when our parents were growing up, when we were growing up even, in Ohio, there was so many stay-at-home moms. And now it's like almost every mother also has to work in addition to every father. So it's like, both homes have dual income. They're outsourcing the childcare to like whatever. And it's, it is really, really heartbreaking to think about. But what's funny about that statement, like they're not doing their best. I'll never forget in therapy one time, my therapist just goes, did you think your parents did their best? And I was like, no. And she's like, I knew you'd say that. I was like, bro.
Did you agree or no?
Yeah. I think there's something, I don't think she was thinking about them. I think she was thinking about what
how
that
you
says about
felt.
me.
Yeah.
What that perception says about me. And that perception says about me that, I don't know. I don't even know. I need to ask her. But I think there's an anger and a resentment that is expressed through that, of my anger or resentment, or thinking they could have done better, or thinking that they could have cared for me more. And I guess like the more elevated process would be like, oh, they did do their best.
Well, I was going to say,
know?
like, can I offer a
Please.
thought?
Yeah.
I think when it comes to asking yourself if you or anyone is doing their best,
That's a good one.
I think the answer is yes. Not that this means that they've went and done all the research and they've written out all the ways they could do something and they've chosen the best. That's what we think about when, like, did they do their best? The way that anyone behaves in a moment is their best. It's how their experiences, their personality, like how it all comes to be and how they are in that moment, that is their best. Because if they could have done better, they could have said better, they could have taken a breath, they could have stopped and researched, they would have. I'm not saying that it means we should tolerate it or we should celebrate it or we should accept it, but I think that how anyone shows up in any given moment is actually their like top capacity. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It's like there's two sides to it, because I literally see how it's not, and then I literally see how it is.
I see both.
And the way that I see that it is because it is. What it is the fact that, you know what I mean? What it is that it is. But then on the other side, I just feel like so many people, and I know that there's more spaciousness for my greater expression and embodiment and joy and service. So I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I just feel like so many people are not living up to their fullest potential. They know that they're here for more. They know that they want more from their life. They know that there's more potential and possibility. And there's something that's keeping them from making the small steps towards that. And not even outside of moms. Like, we're done talking about moms. We're talking about like just people in our 20s or 30s. It's like so many people want more for their life. And I don't know if they don't know where to go first. They don't know what it is. What do you think about that?
I feel like at a default, that's where my brain goes, because I'm someone who's like always wanted more and wanted to like reach my potential, and that's been fun. And so I want that for others. And like, I'm the quintessential, like, I think all my friends could be like, you know, world renowned XYZs, whatever they love, right? Like that's like what I default to. However, I've had to realize and accept that like not everyone wants the same things. And some people could like be really happy working a job that they actually don't feel passionate about, but they know how it works and it's low stress and it's very predictable and it's very comfortable. And then they get to enjoy their evenings and their weekends and like know that every year they're going to get a 5% raise and like it's going to be good. And so everyone's different. And some people don't want to like talk to their friends all the time, or they don't want to like have family be a priority, or they want to live in this place, or they want to do. So it's like, I think that's where I am now is like, I think everyone can want different things and it might not be like exactly how I want it. And then that helps me not like push or add storyline or look at someone and think, oh, they should want this. It's like, well, maybe they're actually happy, even though it could never be what I would want for myself. Like, it's actually what works for them.
As long as they're happy. If they're not happy and not doing it, but it is as long as they're happy, because I do think, at least in my experience, as someone that always wants more, it's not, I have a lot of joy in my life, but it's not always happy. That desire for more, always, more success, more whatever is not, it's like not always fun. Like it kind of keeps me like never satisfied sometimes. Which isn't the good thing.
Yeah, I feel like there are moments, just speaking to like potential and doing your best, like I do have conscious moments of like I could make a better choice for myself right now, and I don't, because I
Say more. Example.
A silly example is like going to bed. What am I going to do right now that would be like the best for my mind, for my spirit, for a good night's sleep? It might be like meditating and a book and like a little red light. But then I'm like, oh, I would love to watch like an episode of Love is Blind right now.
I know.
Do you know what I mean? It's like both are fine.
Yes.
But like it's almost like the meditating and reading like an excerpt from a book and just having like a quiet moment would be like kind of pushing myself to do that, you know? And the other thing is like, oh yeah. Both are fine, but I think I choose the easier. Just like I was
Yeah.
saying about the moms, like we all have that part of us that's just like,
Yeah.
I'll choose easy.
It's that future self thing. It's like, what would the future self rather have you do? Watch that or pray or, do the thing. And it's like, how can we get in touch with future self?
Yeah. So I have like conscious moments of like, that probably wasn't my best.
For sure.
To be honest.
Yeah, I have that.
It is what it is.
I'm like my number one enabler though.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro.
Aren't we all?
I know, but like in like a way where I'm like, I'll bring the phone to bed now that I'm like, when I was married, I was like psycho. I was like 7 p.m. off the phone, 7, 8. Like I was just like, I think I was trying to prove to him that I was something. You know what I mean? Like I think I had to like have someone else around me to be like, yo, I'm amazing at this. And now that I'm like doing my thing, I'm like all around. I'm in the streets and I'm just like in phone. I'm like, you know what? I'm young. I'm young and I'm like, I just deserve a little cuddle phone time. Like, and I'm just like, I'm all good with that. Like, but I will have, I think my thing where I will, and it's related to food and body because that's been a journey for me. I think my thing will be with food and body. Like I noticed myself this weekend, I was traveling and it was a friend's birthday. In the past weeks I'd been out to dinners a lot and not sleeping. And then this weekend was like cakes and desserts and like all that, which is fine. But I actually noticed myself angry because I was like, oh, like I was just annoyed at like how much shit I had been eating. And I was like, okay, what's that? What's the truth there of like, it doesn't feel good to eat pieces of cake every day. But then there's also the truth of like, where am I annoyed that I'm expecting, where am I mad at myself for having the cake? That balance of like, this doesn't feel good actually for me and my body and the way that I'm relating to food, but also I can't be mad at myself for wanting, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Participating in kind of like a joyful celebration is what it is. Yeah.
I think with both of these topics too, of like the phone and the cake, like I think we all have to get to a place where we're like, recognize, oh, something isn't working for us, and then we're motivated to make the change. And like,
good one.
That's what happened to me this past weekend. Is like I really got to this place of like such overwhelm and such that I was like, that's it. Putting these boundaries on my phone, making these changes, pulling out my journal, and like eventually, I think we lead ourselves. Unfortunately, sometimes we do have to fall into like this trench to then like want to make a different thing happen for us, but sometimes we do need the like love is blind night to turn off our brain and to scroll our phone. And I think when we do that, let's not judge ourselves so that we can actually reap the benefit of like the R&R and the moment to, give yourself a break. And trust that like, if you're working on anyone listening to this podcast at this minute of this episode is doing this work. So it's like, knowing that, okay, your spirit's going to speak to you and you're going to feel the desire to make a radical change in your everyday, like when you've reached your limit, and then giving yourself grace and having that trust with yourself. When you have that internal, like, I can't talk about food. I can't trust myself. I can't allow myself to have one piece of cake because then I'll have 10 pieces and then I'm going to have this and then I'm going to have that and then I'm going to have to diet. It's like, whoa, now we're like fighting ourselves. It's, hey, if I'm craving cake and it's here and it tastes delicious, I'm allowed to have a piece and enjoy that. And then when I'm done, I'm going to check in with myself and see how I feel. And if I want another, I'll grab another. And if I don't, I won't, But the trust and the not being at war with yourself, I think is key.
Yeah.
Where do you find yourself today? Like at this moment, we're about to have your birthday. Like, where would you say if
we're going to be at your birthday?
Yeah, honestly, I can't wait.
You're inviting us to your birthday.
I'm stressed already. Not kidding.
Dude, I know, literally. Where do you find yourself? Like, what do you find yourself thinking about the most? Like, for all of our listeners that are like tuning into you right now, like, what's on your mind the most? What's on your heart?
Well, I would just think the biggest thing on my heart and my mind right now is my anxiety, which is really manifesting itself in so many thoughts all the time, like 2 streams of thought, a song in the background, and like just feeling really overwhelmed. Actually, something you said earlier, Krista, that I loved and kind of like blacked out after you said it, because I don't even remember what you said after, because I was like, I need to think about that, is you said I enjoy my thoughts. And I think I've had this thing recently where I've like resent my thoughts and I hate my thoughts and I just want to turn my brain off and like stop thinking. Going back to practice what you preach, like I'm creating a little mini war with myself, right? Of like, I hate thinking. Why am I thinking again? Like I'm so mad. So when you said this, I actually enjoy my thoughts. Like that was actually really cute. And I was like, wait, can I try to shift this to be a positive of like, I love that I'm a thinker and I focus on details and I care deeply, and that this serves a huge purpose from the hours of 8 to 5 every day. But it doesn't when it's time to like be with my friends or my husband or my family. So that's what I'm like currently thinking about, working through, trying to start to enjoy my thoughts and also shift the attention from what other people are thinking. It's like I'm so obsessed with freaking thoughts right now. It's my thoughts, your thoughts, everyone's thoughts. And to kind of clear that out, blow it away, let it fade. But yeah, that's my struggle.
That's huge. Yeah, that's huge. And I think where you are in your life, it's just so pivotal and so important. And I think you're just doing such a beautiful job, you know, of it. It's like
big time.
And making so much impact on so many other people, supporting so many people just by being yourself, but also pushing yourself to be the best version. Like, it's not easy work, you know, to go to therapy every week, to like show up, to be vulnerable in front of millions, to like support people in the way that you do. So just like honoring you in that, it's like huge.
Thank you,
Yeah.
beauties. That's
Yeah,
so
you're
sweet. And you
welcome.
both too. I love chatting with you guys.
Yeah. I can't wait for our pod on yours.
Me too. I need to re-listen too. Both of you are like so brilliant. I loved this chat.
This was great. Thank you for being here.
Thank you
We
guys.
love you.
All right, guys.
All right,
We'll see you on the
everybody.
next one. We love you. Bye.
Thank you so much, Victoria. You can listen to her on the Real Pod every single week. You can follow her on Instagram and TikTok. And thank you so much for being on, Victoria. You're the best. Thanks for having us on your show as well. You can find that episode on the Real Pod.
Love you guys so much. You're the best. Morning Microdose is our Clips channel. So if y'all want like 5 to 10 minutes of inspiration, motivation, some of the best from Almost 30, go to Morning Microdose. It's just an ad-free show that we provide just for you. Almost30.com for more information on the show, on Lindsay and I, for our partnership information, for our new branding and look. Almost 30 on Instagram and TikTok. And then we have YouTube, baby. If you want to see us on video, if you want to see our girl on video in our studio, come hang.
Come hang. All right, y'all. We'll see you next time.
See you soon. Bye.
Bye.